What they're going to be able to experience, actually, is visiting actual classrooms, grades K to 8, where teachers who have had special training in how to teach gifted students will be demonstrating many of the methods that are written about in the book. So you'll have both an auditory experience and a visual experience, and it will increase your confidence in applying those strategies yourself. It will allow a study group of teachers at your building site to meet together over the period of a semester or a year to learn the strategies together, but more importantly, to coach each other into implementation. The research of Bruce Joyce and Beverly Showers is absolutely clear that when teachers at the same level of expertise are working together, they will be able to accommodate the implementation of their strategies over a much longer period of time than if they don't have that support structure. My definition of gifted is extremely unscientific. I would call a student gifted if he or she had exceptional ability in any area of learning that significantly exceeded age-level expectations. And if that is a true definition of gifted, then by definition, the curriculum that's designed for an age-appropriate learner, a typical 8-year-old in 3rd grade, could not possibly challenge somebody who's already operating most of the time at a level that's 2 years or more advanced. And that's why differentiation for these kids is so essential. The most common conflict between gifted kids and their parents and their teachers is the power struggle over whether or not the student will do his work. Many teachers who have not had special training feel that if the students are not productive, then that must mean they're not really, or my favorite, truly gifted. Because if they were, wouldn't they just be the best little stars that they've ever seen? And the most wonderful teacher pleasers. I'd like to shock you by suggesting that I rarely, if ever, met a gifted kid who won't do his work. But I have met thousands of gifted kids who won't do your work. I've called that the confusion of pronoun syndrome. And once we get that straightened out about whose work is it, these kids can just sail ahead. Teachers are not even responsible for teaching the assigned standards. I'm waiting for somebody to faint out there. The only thing you're responsible for is to document that the students who are assigned to you have mastered the standards that are assigned to you. And when that mastery is documented is not legislated. So it's perfectly legal and moral and ethical to build into your system of teaching this opportunity for kids, all kids who want to try, to say, already I know this week's spelling, could I please show you how? And so that's called compacting, because we allow them to get through the grade level curriculum in less time, which then opens up all this other time for them to be doing what we call extension activities, not to be confused with extra credit. The only kids who ever get to do the extra credit are the kids who have credit to burn. Secondly, the message that they get early in their school career is slow down. Because if that teacher sees you finishing early, she'll give you more work. And nobody in their right mind would put themselves out to get more work. So it becomes a game. I will show you only what I have to get by. I will give you the minimum of what you need. Just don't make me do anything extra. Okay, so once I find out that he knows this week's spelling, where am I supposed to find the alternative work? And that's what these study groups provide, and that's what peer coaching groups provide, and that's what collegial sharing and planning provide. So it is absolutely possible to do this for the benefit of not only gifted kids, but other kids in the class as well. On the screen you will see a bell curve. And this image makes very many people really unhappy and nervous. We don't use it for any other reason but to illustrate why the kids who are at the highly capable end of that bell curve need and deserve differentiation. So in your mind's eye, if you can fold that bell curve in half so it creases down the 50th percentile, that end of the bell curve represents this really struggling learners. What do we do for them? When we have the tools, we are very willing to present it in a different manner, give them peers to work with who can be helpful and encouraging to them, ask their parents for information about them, ask other teachers. We slow down, we give them less amount. And nobody says that's elitism. Everybody's so happy that those kids are finally producing that we don't question that. Now, if you ask what do gifted kids need, they need exactly the same things that the system so willingly gives the kids at the bottom. They need the pace changed. They don't need it slower. They need it faster. They need the amount changed. They don't need more, which is why extra credit's not what they need. They need less time on grade level standards so that they can have more time on moving their own learning forward. And all of those things that we would willingly accommodate for struggling students need to be equally present for gifted kids. In the event that you, as a teacher who cares about what happens to gifted kids, is having trouble convincing your colleagues that this is a group that needs to be attended to, you just ask them the following questions and ask them to raise their hand if they agree. Do you agree that all students who attend school have a right to learn something new every day? Raise your hand if you agree, or nod your head if you agree. Well, of course you agree. Why wouldn't you agree? However, it may surprise you to know that in a mixed ability classroom, the students who are at greatest risk of actually learning the least in a given semester or school year are those kids we call gifted, because they are not learning if they come into the class already having mastered 2/3, 3/4 of what the teacher is going to be teaching all year. I measure learning by forward progress from entry level. And if a kid's coming into 4th grade and he's already scoring 99.7 on whatever test they're using, where is he going to go? And how is he going to show any progress? So what happens when there's so much pressure on teachers and educators for high scores on high-stakes tests is that the gifted kids start to be used as tutors or helpers. I've never met a parent of a gifted kid who says to their child when they're getting ready to go on the bus in the morning, "Now be a good teacher today, honey." Because those people pay the same amount of taxes as everybody else. And if everybody else is entitled to expect their kid can learn something today, then so are these parents. Raise your hand or nod your head if you agree with this statement. All the students I teach ought to be able to enjoy high self-esteem and a high level of confidence when we're together. Everybody agrees. Self-esteem comes from feeling that you're perfectly okay the way you are, and from feeling confident that if you tiptoe out into uncharted waters, you'll still be safe. You'll be fine whether you're successful or not. Now, when kids have to come to school, as most gifted kids do, and actually pretend to not be as smart as they are, they start pretending that they're operating at lower levels. And of course, what comes into that formula also is peer pressure. And so I'm always fascinated, especially as I go into schools in areas of poverty, that the way to fix that is to create a school environment that cherishes achievement for everyone, so that it isn't only the so-called academically gifted kids who are having their achievement noticed, but it becomes a part of the school culture. Many of us have seen gifted kids that we know and love just chug right along through elementary school, and then at some point from grades 5 through 12 hit a wall and just stop. And we don't know why that happens. The work of Carol Dweck has explained that, and you might want to look into that on your own. But the reason truly is the longer a gifted kid goes through school, getting high grades and high praise for things that took little to no effort, the more likely she is to conclude that in order to be considered smart, nobody ever better catch you working hard. So when they hit that challenge wall, they don't have the tools. And that's what this video is going to do. It's going to give you the tools. The book is giving you the tools. The study group approach, the school-based study group approach, is giving you the tools. And when you use all of the tools that are accompanying this product and learn how to learn from each other, you're going to become extremely well-versed in how to challenge gifted students in your classes and in your lives.
Gifted kids aren't the easiest to teach, and that's because they typically have mastered a large percentage of the curriculum that we plan on teaching during that school day. So what we're trying to do here is help teachers extend the learning opportunities, go into the concepts deeper, or maybe at a faster pace. Gifted students are more highly motivated to learn when they have some say in their learning. They like to have some direction in what they're learning and in how they're learning it. A lot of people in schools will think, oh, it must be really easy teaching gifted kids. That's really not the case, because they learn outside of what the regular curriculum is. They move through it faster. They have mastered much of the grade level standards that we plan on teaching. The curriculum is not challenging for them. So the purpose of this book is to help teachers use the tools that will help challenge the students with the regular curriculum and go beyond that regular curriculum. All kids need that challenge every day in order to learn. So these strategies will help extend those learning opportunities for the students that may not have been challenged with the regular curriculum. You are going to see strategies demonstrated in all kinds of different classrooms. Regular heterogeneous classrooms, gifted cluster classrooms, self-contained gifted classrooms, honors classes. There's gifted students in all classrooms. These strategies work equally well in all different kinds of settings. You will observe a variety of instructional strategies in these videos, all of which are fully described in the book. Some of them include formative assessments, including pretesting, grading practices in a differentiated classroom, curriculum compacting, the most difficult first strategy, methods for forming flexible learning groups, critical thinking strategies, questioning strategies, learning centers, and technology as a differentiation tool. Some specific lesson plans you will be seeing are tiered assignments, extension menus, independent study agreements, study guides, daily record-keeping logs, and student contracts.
When I first started teaching, those many decades ago, in Wisconsin, it was politically correct to take all of the gifted kids and the wannabe gifted kids and put them in one section, which left the other sections rather lacking in academic leadership. Well, I was a new teacher, and I was teaching next door to a master teacher, and she had those gifted kids. So because I was trying to learn how to be a good teacher, I left my door open, she left her door open, and what I heard coming out of there was so enchanting that I said, that's what I want to be when I grow up. 20 years later, I discovered that what she was doing was just excellent teaching. That gifted kids without that will just wither and die. All kids deserve excellent teaching, and that's why our program truly urges administrators to have this training be available for all teachers, whether or not they're actually going to have assigned gifted kids to them, because it's training in compacting and differentiation and managing it without going crazy, and it ultimately is good for all kids. So I developed a passion for them, and it's never, ever left me, because they are the least well understood group of students in our schools and have been for decades.